All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are going to talk about something huge, the AI revolution and what it's really doing to our economy. We're going to connect the dots between all the tech headlines you see every day and this deep nagging feeling that something's been broken for a while. And this question right here, this is the heart of the matter. I mean, think about it. Our factories are more efficient, our software is smarter, productivity is through the roof. And yet, for so many of us, it feels like we're just treading water. And look, this isn't just in your head. It's a real structural break in how our economy works. And AI is about to pour rocket fuel all over it. So, to really get what's happening now, we've got to go back a bit. We need to talk about a promise that was broken decades ago, long before anybody was talking about ChatGPT. Okay, so look at this slide. This chart tells a story, and honestly, it shows the exact moment everything changed. Economists call this the Great Decoupling. See that top line shooting up? That's productivity. How much stuff we make, how much value we create, it just keeps soaring. But then look at the bottom line. That's pay for the average worker. It just goes flat. For a whole generation, these two lines move together, like a perfect dance. And then, right around 1973, they just split apart. This really lays out that broken bargain. For almost 30 years after World War II, the deal was simple. If the company does better, you do better. As the economic pie got bigger, everyone got a bigger slice. It was this amazing virtuous cycle that literally built the American middle class. But then, that cycle just shattered. So what on earth happened? Well, a huge part of it was this idea right here. In 1970, the economist Milton Friedman wrote this, and it basically became the new operating system for capitalism. The whole goal shifted. It was no longer about shared prosperity, it was all about maximizing profits for shareholders. And all that new wealth that productivity was creating, it stopped flowing to workers and started flowing almost entirely to the owners. Now, it's super important to get this straight. AI did not create this problem. But what it does do is take this already broken system and basically strap a rocket to it. It changes the fundamental physics of the whole thing. This is the part that changes everything. Look, the steam engine replaced muscle, the computer replaced basic calculation. But here's the key. Those machines helped the worker be better at their job. AI is totally different. It's the first technology in history that can be the worker. It doesn't just help you with a task. It can do the whole cognitive task from start to finish. And listen, this isn't some far-off sci-fi idea. It's already happened. Check out this number, 60,000. In just one factory in China, Foxconn, the company that makes iPhones, replaced 60,000 human beings with robots. Just like that. 60,000 paychecks gone. And here's the kicker. The factory got more productive, for sure. But those 60,000 robots, they didn't take their paychecks and go buy iPhones or pay rent or buy groceries. That money that used to flow back into the community just vanished. This is how AI can break that virtuous economic loop we were talking about. Productivity can go up, but demand can actually collapse. So you might be wondering, how in the world did we get a technology this powerful so fast? Well, the truth is, the seeds were planted a long, long time ago. AI's history is just this story of one acceleration after another. You know, it started way back in the 50s with this simple idea of just trying to imitate intelligence. Then you got this huge symbolic moment in 1997 when IBM's Deep Blue beat the world chess champion Garry Kasparov. That proved a machine could outthink a human master. But the real explosion, the one we're living through right now, that all started in the 2010s with a couple of key breakthroughs that unlocked the massive scale AI we see today. Okay, so all of this brings us to a real cliff edge. As AI starts doing more and more of the thinking work, experts see our society heading down one of three very, very different paths. The late, great Stephen Hawking put it perfectly. He warned us that the real fight here isn't about technology, it's about politics. AI is going to create an absolutely unimaginable amount of wealth, and the single biggest question of our lifetimes is going to be who gets it. So, what are our choices? Well, path one is kind of the default. Let's call it digital feudalism. A tiny, tiny group of people own the AIs, and everybody else just pays rent to use them. Wealth gets concentrated like never before. Path two is what you hear a lot about, state redistribution. We tax the robots, basically, and share the money through something like a universal basic income. And then there's path three, which is the most radical of all, the ownership shift. where we fundamentally rethink who owns the machines in the first place, and we all become shareholders in this new automated economy. But look, this goes even deeper than just the money. AI is forcing us to ask some really tough questions, not just about our wallets, but about our place in the world, about control, and about meaning itself. Now, the real risk with AI isn't necessarily a Hollywood movie villain. A much smarter way to think about it is to assume it'll be, well, sociopathic. And I don't mean evil, I mean amoral. It's incredibly powerful, incredibly capable, but it has absolutely no built-in conscience or sense of responsibility to us. It just follows its programming. So how do you control something that's super powerful but doesn't have a conscience? The answer isn't some clever piece of code. It's not a tech problem. It's a political one. It's the same problem we've been wrestling with for thousands of years. How do you distribute power? How do you create checks and balances to make sure no single entity gets too much control? And you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to Geoffrey Hinton. This guy is literally called the godfather of AI. He's one of the people who built this stuff. And he is sounding the alarm, telling us that on its current path, this technology is just going to make that great decoupling we saw earlier 1,000 times worse. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. For 200 years, capitalism has been obsessed with solving the problem of production, just making more stuff. And AI is the ultimate solution to that problem. But as intelligence gets cheap, as labor becomes almost infinite, what happens then? The real crisis that's coming for us isn't just about losing our jobs. It's about how we find dignity, how we find purpose in a world that might not need our work to function anymore. And that question, it's not some distant future problem. It's right here, right now. All right,